We are going to start with prayers. Introduction, starting with members of parliament, then our staffs, custodian board, and our witnesses. Clerk.
Let's pray. Almighty God, who in your finite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.
Introduction, starting with members of parliament.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For me is my name, I'm a member of the subcommittee.
Chair, good morning. My name is Idu Nathan, Member of Parliament for Cosase South in Imbara District, and I'm a member of this subcommittee.
Mogema Peter, MP Lang Municipality, member of this committee. I'm Ahmad Tinserepo, I represent the people of Kampala Central. I'm the lead counsel of this committee. Custodian board.
Honorable Chair and members, I'm Mr. William, the Executive Secretary of Purchases and the Property Custodian Board.
I'm Irene Julu, member of the Diversity Committee, Custodian Board.
My name is Hadija Sebiara, Secretary, Biko District Land Board.
Everyone come, sir. There is a lot of talking with the strategies and property custodian board.
Let's proceed.
Kaiji Francis, Chairperson, Biko District Land Board. Kaiji Francis.
Kaimba Bingo Edward, retired servant, former secretary, Buyukwe District Land Board.
Repeat the name.
Kaimba Bengo.
Kayemba.
Bengo Edward.
Retired.
I'm the former secretary, District Land Board.
You can sit and introduce yourselves as they are bringing your judgment.
I'm Dr. Dongo Livingstone, Chairman of Wetiso District Land Board.
Gilbert Kasozi, Senior Management Officer, Wakisa District of Government.
Yes, sir. You are here as who? To do what? Who sent you? Is acting as who? Bring the file.
Chair, procedure. Chair, you should be on record because
the next business.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, you are invited in Kono, you can be work so. There is somebody who has got a letter from Mukono for record purposes. Can you be on record and mention your name and the message?
I think members, I should read the content of this letter. The chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Commission Sector Authorities and State Enterprises Investigations into Custodian Board Properties. This is a follow-up of your invitation of our land board along with others from Buyukwe and Watso districts, respectively, reference B70-288, dated 27th February 2020, though received on 9th March 2020. We finally received the list from the Departed Regional Property Custodian Board attached to 17th March 2020. The purpose of this communication is to inform you about receiving the copies of the list and further request for ample time to retrieve the corresponding files in order to prepare a credible response to the committee. However, please find attached 3 copies of the files retrieved for your perusal. Signed, Finamasko Jackson, Chairperson, Mukono District Land Board. Submission of certificate of the departed Asian's property in Mukono District. Excuse members. Submission of certificate, certified copies of the departed Asian's property in Mukono District Local Government. This is submit to you details of 3 certified title deeds retrieved from EMZO Record Center at 19th March 2020. 1. Leasehold Register Volume Number 163-405 attached. Annex 1. Leasehold for 99 years of 81.90 acres, Chagwe Mengo District, Buganda Province, with effect from 1st day of March 1928. Instrument number 39401, registered on 15th December 1959 at 3:30 p.m. under instrument number 145441. Current proprietors are Balbati Balbuham Limited, P.O. Box 325 Jinja, registered 15th December 1959 at 3:30 p.m. Instrument 145441, entered into a caveat by Bankless Bank of Uganda on the 6th January 1972 at 8:23 a.m. under instrument number 188228. 2. Procedure text precedence, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I thought it would be procedurally right to attend to that gentleman last year, because he could even go back to Mukono and say, when I went and he gave me first priority, he was just a delegate.
The reason as why I wanted to read is just they have just sent him. So I'm reading to what contained in what he has brought before this committee.
Yeah, we can attend to
then we take a decision, it takes back that decision. It takes back that decision, then we proceed with others. So those are the first list of that property, comprised of 99 years, 81.90 acres in Chagwe. Then the second narrative of the property is lease register number 122408, copy attached, annex 2. Leasehold for 99 years of 130 acres, Chagwe, Mengo District, Buganda Province, with effect from 8th day of November 1916, granted under instrument number 15986, registered on 15th December 1959 at 3:30 p.m. under instrument number 145441, issued a special certificate of title, having lost the original on the 4th Feb 1997 at 10 a.m. instrument number 285459. Current proprietor is Sanyu Mukisa Chazike of P.O. Box 781 Kampala, re-entered upon the said land on the 9th November 2006 in strict conformity for the entry registered on 23rd November 2006 at 3:35 p.m. under instrument number 373873, entered into a caveat by Barclays Bank Uganda Limited on the 6th 1972 at 8:23 a.m. under instrument number 188228. The third is registered leasehold register volume number 204 folio 11, copies attached, leasehold for 99 years and 9 months of 553.319 hectares, not acres, hectares, Chagwe, Mengo District, Buganda Province, with effect from 1st day of April 1946, granted under instrument number 71294. Current proprietors, John Bosco Mwonge. At 3:30 p.m., re-entered upon the said land on the 9th November 2006 in strict conformity for the entry registered on the 2nd February 2010 at 2:30 p.m. instrument number 4240083, entered into a caveat by DFCU Bank on the 10th November 2016 at 12:10 p.m. under instrument number MKO 000-33641 to Namasco Junction. So they were responding to all the properties of the custodian board which are in their jurisdiction, but I think we need to ask custodian board before we let the person members discuss whether custodian board did dealt in these properties.
I think before, what I think the way I understood the content of the letter is that they received the custodian bodies, because we are to told the custodian board to furnish the district land board with the properties which are under their jurisdiction, which are within their jurisdiction, so they make a response. He was saying that they actually received the details from custodian board, just I think yesterday but one, and thereafter they were not in position to do the work what they instructed them to do. So I think it's like they are requiring for more time to do a comprehensive work and file a report with us. So I think we need to pronounce us whether to grant the time. I think that is how much time we need to give them in order for them to do the work. In other words, if they had been given the detail of the custodian body earlier, they would have done the work as sufficiently appeared before us for engagement.
You see, members, my problem with Mukono, we have invited them 3 times. We invited them, instead of coming the whole board, it's only the chairperson who came. I remember we were in East Room. The chairperson came and said, for us, we don't have, I think that was in around November, and he said, we don't have the list of properties of custodian board. Then we asked them then that you go and get in touch with custodian board to have that list. Then we invited them again. That time they didn't come. They just sent a letter that they won't manage to come because they're still compiling documents. The same is happening today. At least today they have managed to send what so far they have got. And the reason why I wanted to ask custodian board, because for them they are saying they have never dealt in any property. When we ask them which led to that they never dealt in any property. But we are seeing the property which were dealt in, like now this 555 acres, 0.39 something acres of land, hectares of land. So if you convert it in acres, how many acres are those? Which I'm seeing now, they transferred the property to John Bosco Mwonge, who went ahead and I think mortgaged it in DFCU. So I don't know.
Mr. Chairperson, it's my view that that person is a messenger. Let us get those copies.
I'm not accusing him.
No, I'm saying let's get those copies. let us interrogate the evidence we all have. It's one copy, so that every member is supplied, because there is more in Mukono from the documents they supplied with us, from the list of the properties that they supplied with us, so that either we give them more time, even if it's next Tuesday or the other Thursday to appear, because we need to interrogate them. Now, submission, this partial submission helps nothing, has nothing to add to this committee. We need them with the files and comprehensively how they dealt with and arrived to this. And they should supply us, it has been a policy. Whatever they must send should be sent in 50. How many copies do you tell them?
15 copies.
That is what you, so whatever they have to send you with in the future,
They should send 15 copies of every member. You work as who in a Mukono District Land Board? You're just a messenger.
What is the issue? When did they, because for them, it's like they will comply. What is land, what the Cosase Sub
When did you
them the information.
with the list?
Yes, that's what I think is an issue. Because they are saying one yesterday but one. I think they must, I don't know if they have not they have attached it on there.
Chair, thank you. Chair, I'm sorry, I have a different opinion. You see, Chair, this is a committee that has a time frame, but also a committee of parliament that should be respected. The gentleman from Mukono has no identity, has no relationship with the board, he has nothing to show as representative in Mukono. So for a committee to write a letter and just speak a stranger and say, take the message to the committee, I think, Chair, they need to respect us as a committee. But also, Chair, as you are saying, I think this is the third time. I think I've met that gentleman before with a letter that he has been given a letter that Mukono is not able to appear. The same gentleman, I remember, Chair, you said they must appear today. The letter he had. I even remember, Chair, you even appended your signature saying they should appear today. Now, instead of appearing today, they have sent the same stranger with the letter which we don't know. And the Chair, you know, this is a committee that has a time frame. We must give people fair hearing, but also have time to write a report. Chair, me, my view is that we give Mukono the last chance. But in the last chance, the message should be clear that should they fail to appear, then the same message would imply that we have issued a warrant of arrest, so they are arrested and brought to book as per rules of procedure and as per the law.
Members?
Mr. Chairman, sorry to come back again. I think I have no problem what is proposing. But you see, the Land Board is telling you that they received the information on which you want information just yesterday but one. So they were impeded by...
That's the reason why I was asking Custodian Board, when did they give them the information?
I think they must have an attachment on that file. I heard as if you read that they have copies.
No, the attachment here are copies of the titles of the 3 properties they mentioned.
There are no letters which they wrote Cosase Sub?
No, I'm seeing partial listing. I'm seeing that there is Mukono, Enzo, Friday 20th March. Please find attached. Yeah, these are the properties.
Yes.
Including the date, I'm seeing a letter of Dr. Biakatonda.
Yes.
It was dated on 17th March.
Yes. And today is 20.
And the properties are almost 80 properties which they have to, 80 plus, which they have to respond to.
And the date is...
And they have responded to only 3.
I think it is the 18th. So I think Chairman would be discussing time, how much time they need to work on the 80.
Just a few members to tell me, that's why I'm asking you.
No, you see, Mr. Chairman.
No, let's agree. When should we invite them again?
Yes. As well as others, you have given the information.
When should we invite them again?
Chairman, you know the schedule with the clerk.
Clerk?
Give them 7 days, Chair.
Those explanations are what? Give it to members. Clerk? You give me also one. No, on 27, who are those who are supposed to be on there on 27? Well, no, I think on Fridays we are having a problem with members attending. So we should do, instead of Fridays, we should start with Monday. Fridays should leave it because members they are now going their constituencies in the weekend. So, so you mean now, let's have a consensus. Should we also fix on Friday? Yes? Should we put on Friday? Yes. Should we always put on Friday? No. Monday should also include Monday.
Mr. Chairman, the interest because this question must also wind up. Maybe if we needed to fix it, if you're going to Monday and Friday, then we must know when are we winding up. I think that's what we need to discuss. So we put in the 2 days, but with a view of that is not
because even me really.
Any date you agree to give them from here, I'm available.
I mean, on the issue of fixing the meetings from Friday to.
I think that we can do in house from these people. We'll tell
because we need a date. There's another the date which is there. The earliest date is on 27th, which is a Friday. Should we invite them on Friday?
I think so. He's okay. He's going to come on.
Okay. Mr. You put it. You talk everybody to listen. It's not me. It's not my. This is a meeting. You say it for all members to listen what you are saying.
Honorable Chair, through you, I'm requesting among all those properties that Mukono is going to respond to, we have some specifics, especially on property comprised in Cosase Estate. We have Nkoko Estate. They are among those, but we have peculiar interest in those. They can report on others, then leave these ones. We beg
You are saying what?
Cosase Estate.
Cosase
Estate. In Kayunga. Then there's also Nkoko Estate. Nkoko. Then also Zintengese Estate and the Mabira Plantation. Zintengese
Estate
and the Mabira. They were formerly in Mukono before they were transferred to Boyikwe.
So now that is in Boyikwe.
But we need it. They must. It would be interested to see their earlier record on it before it was transferred to Boyikwe.
Members. What I would say, this, yes, I appreciate
the request. I thought the request is to work on all of them.
Yes, I appreciate it. No, for him he's saying specific. But for us, we are thinking we should deal with all of them. But when we are discussing, we shall put, maybe you have issues why he's asking for this specific. We shall see them when they have appeared here and presenting also.
So you should just write a brief
about it. Should add on this, which I'm not seeing here on the list you gave them earlier. ekitabo kyolina okuwandiika is Kasirize Estate in Kayunga, Nkoko Estate and Ntengese Estate. Zintengese. Mama Guru knows this Uganda very well. Zintengese. That is in Mabida. Yes. Mabida. Okay. And Mabida Plantation Limited. Okay. Hey, there is Mabida Plantation Limited. Okay. Okay. And Mabida Estate. Plantation Limited. Plus all these ones they gave them, we need them to appear here on 27th March 2020 at 10 a.m.
Chacha, my request would be that where you find that Mukono is no longer dealing with the fire, you don't wait to come and report here. You inform us, others start to contact the Kayunga because the Mukono was divided into 4. So you know, not wasting time. When you realize that a particular file is no longer under you, you don't wait to come and tell us, this file now, it is handled by Kayunga. Then you have to call Kayunga. You have to do the limited time, then you inform us on time, so that we write to the respective land board. Have you said you are disabled and you don't have no position at the district?
Lady Council. I think we've handled that matter of Mukono and we will let him be. I mean, he's a messenger. There is nothing much you can tell him. Well, it's not a problem. We will arrest them, so it's not a problem. If they try to play around with the committee, then we can invoke something else, but we can't blame the messenger for carrying the message. By the time he carried that letter, he knows the implication of what he was carrying. So we have Wakiso files with us now. And please, you can wait a bit since Wakiso, the matter was on files. Since the matter was on files, no, they came earlier, the other ones. They were here at 9. They were around without files. No, but we had their files. You know, in all fairness and justice, it is they were here. Okay. Since you forfeited your chance, then let's start with the vehicle. Yes, Chairperson and Sebiara, tell us what you have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to submit the copies.
The copies you are going to submit.
We received your letter dated the 27th of February 2020. Reference was meeting with the Parliamentary Committee on Commissioners, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises on investigation into custodian board. When we received this letter, we had no inventory for custodian board. What we did was to write to custodian board. The letter was written on 9th March. We wrote to the Executive Director, Custodian Board Properties. Reference was the list of properties for the public Asians in the vehicle district. I am in a receipt of a letter from the Office of the Clerk of Parliament, reference AB 70/288/01, dated the 27th of February 2020, inviting me for a meeting with the Parliamentary Committee on Commissioners, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises Cosase. We are required to attend the meeting with information relating to the number of all properties of the parted area in Buyukwe district on 20th March 2020, which is today. However, as the Buyukwe district land board, we lack an inventory of the said properties to compile a list as required. The purpose of this letter, therefore, is to request your office to avail us a list of status of the properties to enable me prepare a report on time. The letter was received on 17th March 2020, but we did not get a response. Now we have written a letter to you, Chairperson and your committee, the Chairperson, Parliamentary Committee on Commissions, information relating to properties of the parties in Buyukwe district. Reference is made to your letter AB 70/78801 dated the 27th of February 2020 regarding the above subject matter. We are right to inform you that to date you have not been able to compile the list as requested due to the following reasons. Buyukwe District Land Board does not have an inventory of the parted properties. We wrote to a letter to Custodian Board to provide us with a list of properties of the departed in Buyukwe District. A copy of the letter is herewith attached. Unfortunately, by the time of writing this letter, we had not yet received a response. Therefore, we would like to apologize and pray that you allow us to provide the necessary information as soon as we receive a response from Custodian Board.
Mr. Chairman, I think this sounds like a matter with Custodian Board. Because you see, this applies the same thing with Mukon. The letter dated the 17th and it was received on when? Almost on the same day when it was, the same day? Or you think?
It was received by Custodian Board on 17th.
That is your letter?
This is our letter.
You have not finished. So they are saying they cannot proceed, they don't know the property. I think this is pure about our
Mr. Chair. Thank you, Chair. Whereas that is correct, this land board communicated and we received their communication on 17th. But we have some other communication to them. Like we have a Dutch communication of 25th May 2019, where we communicated to this land board not to deal in a property comprised in LRV 244 your 10 Zintang estate. But subsequently, they went ahead and did it.
Mr. What we are saying, we shall deal with that in detail.
Yes.
The question is, for us, what is the list? A list of all those properties. And you know, we pass very many properties in that country. Why don't you avail them the list?
Honorable Chair, as he puts it.
Because when you are picking one, where maybe you have said we should emphasize before. But we, as a committee, also interested in all properties in that area.
Honorable Chair, with due respect, as he puts it, we received that communication on 17th March.
With due respect, that I don't deserve the respect?
And I'm saying with due respect, we received the communication from them on 17th. We beg for some time so that we can retrieve information from archives, so that we can segregate these properties from the Mukono properties. Honorable Chair, after the division of these districts, you find that properties which were under Mukono are now under Buyukwe. Some. And there are those ones which were under Jinja. There are also some of them in Njeru are now part of Buyukwe. So given our catalogue, how we have cataloged these properties, we need to segregate those that specifically fall under Buikwe.
There is no way properties of Jinja can move to Buikwe. No. Even Njeru, because Njeru was part of Rugazi and Buikwe now, there is no way. So
Honorable Chair, the land officers then were the ones taking part of those properties.
Yeah, but not the district land board.
Not the district land board.
So anyway, all said and done, it can't be their fault now.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to know from the chairperson of the land board. As a board, if you don't have the inventory of the properties, what are you managing? What's the problem? The file got lost. Was it in Mkono and you have not picked it? Why are you not having an inventory? What are you managing?
Sir, we tried for several times to request, but when we go to Mukono, they don't come clear.
What shows that you have done several times, you have written to them, to show that you have been writing to them?
So I have not passed with the communication, the correspondences. But if we
give you time, can you furnish us with the correspondences which you have written so far?
Yes, but we tried. We tried to look for information and got an inventory which we thought was not exhaustive. So the correspondences relating to our being given access to the records so that we can compile the full inventory are there.
Now, honorable member,
what we have is partial.
Honorable procedure.
Because what I don't do, which I just is accessible to pick one person and say, this on this one. You see, just give us all the list. If you can even leave the list as for the former Mukono, which comprises, give all the properties in the former Mukono. So it's going to be up to this one. So this one belongs to this one, doesn't belong to that. The former, yes, the so it cannot be, but again we are asking for
these people. That is, what do you have? Because for them, their properties are there. But how is it by looking at block and point number, say this one was custodian board. So I think for them as custodian board, if they don't have particular for we go particular for where, let them print out the former Mukono before it was divided.
Members, I appreciate your concerns. However, with the explanation of the former secretary, they would at least they would come, if they were serious, they would come with that partial properties which they had before. But to me, I believe having got the partial, they would come with that and furnish it with us. They say, now look, this is what we though we have been asking for the entire list of properties. But even the partial, they have not come with it. Members, I have the list which I would request to go through. If they find that that estate belongs to them, they write and go and talk the full list of which they had written to Mukono. If you can allow, I go through them. They record that this one belongs to us, this one doesn't belong to. So that with those ones they will got from this list, plus the partial list they have, if custodian board delays, though they are not supposed to delay, and we direct them to furnish you with that information by the end of tomorrow. So we direct custodian board for that. If you have given them, then you will show us the proof that you have given them before. But on that, let me go ahead to read whatever belongs to them. They will say this one belongs to them. They will call it as.
Just share a quick one. If they are submitting that they don't have any inventory, so I'm imagining that even if you read there, they may not know which one is theirs and which one is not theirs.
So no, depending on the area, differently they know. Being that they are the land, the district land, well, they know that this area falls in our jurisdiction, this one doesn't fall in their jurisdiction. Because now this is what they have given to Mukono. And they are saying some, the district was subdivided, so some falls there, others remains in Mukono. So if we can read through, they will know this one falls in our area, this one doesn't fall in our area. So by the time they will get the full inventory from custodian board, at least they would have done some work.
So are they saying they have nothing? You carry
They have nothing. Moreover, they have a partial list.
Where is your partial list? Where is your list? Oh.
But you don't have a photocopy.
Don't you have any? You say they have
Mr. Chairman, the methods of IGG cannot be determined. When they came to office, they were investigating a certain piece of land. So we had to open, they requested us to open, and they took all that they wanted. So in the instant case that time, they found it imperative to go with the documents that were there here.
So since then they have never returned that document?
Not.
Have you ever written to them to return the document?
We have not. Huh? Yeah, we have a copy of a list of what they took, and we acknowledged receipt. They acknowledged receipt and we witnessed.
Which year was this?
This year. It came around the beginning of March.
March which year?
This year.
Beginning of this March. When did you communicate to these people? Because it was taken with this year, the inventory was taken this year in March.
It came on
27th February.
And I received it on 6th of March.
But if you... So members, let me read these estates. Lumala Estates, does it fall in your jurisdiction? Lumala. Bujuta Estate. You should give us information on that. Bujuta Estate. Then Namwez Estate.
Namwez Estate.
Kabula Estate. Yes, you write what belongs to you. Bujuta Estate is from Njedu. That is Buyukwe. Namwez Estate, Buyukwe. Kabula Estate, you don't know. Then Lugalambo Estate, Buyukwe. Kalagala Estate,
we have two Kalagalas.
Is that Buyukwe? That is Buyukwe. That's Buyukwe.
But we don't know.
Then Mukono Sugar and Coffee Plantations, similar to Mukono. Luanyoni Coffee Estate, Nakalasa Tea Estate.
Not sure.
These are names of the...
Nakalas Tea Estate, you're not so sure. Monico Tea Estate. Monico Tea Estate. That's Buyukwe. Monico, that's Buyukwe. Then Nakapini Tea Estate. Bugonya Tea Estate. Kiwafu Tea Estate. Mawanga Tea Estate. Mawanga Estate. Nagoje Estate. Busolo Ganyi Estate. Wakisu. Namanyoni Coffee Estate. Busologani Estate. There is no location according to the information I have. You will now locate it with because I have the information with me here, which I think I'm helping you to see what you have. Chabazara Estate, Kabale Estate, Kison's Estate. But please respond on record so that I get to respond to here when you are responding. Kabale Estate.
Yes.
Chabazala Estate. Kisonzi Estate.
Not sure.
Former Secretary. Kalagala Estate. Buyukwe. Nafumba Estate and Jagare Mill.
Not sure.
Tebalowoza Sugar Cane Plantation. Bamugaya Estate. Nyenga Estate. Kipayo Estate. Kirema Estate.
Not sure.
Musinge Estate.
Not sure.
Kasenene Estate.
Mukono.
Nakatete Estate.
Not sure.
Bulanga Estate. Bulanga Estate.
Not sure.
Kalungu Estate.
Not in Buyukwe.
Mubango Coffee Estate.
Buyukwe.
Lugaziginari Factory.
Buyukwe.
Kauna Estate.
Not sure.
Vuga Estate Limited.
Buyukwe.
Namanyama Estate, T Estate.
Buyukwe.
Land at Bigi Nabigai.
Not sure.
Mangaliba Estate.
Not sure.
Kasokoso Estate.
Buyukwe.
Lugazi Cable Factory.
Buyukwe.
Lugazi Sugar Factory and Estate. Hugima Engineering Works. Kasanku T Estate. Kasaku T Estate. Never done Kasanku,
Between Mukona and Buyukwe.
Monico Coffee Estate.
Monico Buyukwe.
Kiwafu Estate.
Not sure.
Kasenso Estate.
Not sure.
Kivuvu Estate.
Not sure.
Bukonyo Estate.
Not sure.
Butengo Estate.
Not sure.
Library Temple.
Not sure.
Ntenga Road.
Buyukwe.
So there is in Ntenga Road, there is LRV 218 folio 11. Then LRV 218 folio 12, folio 16. Then LRV 215 folio 25. LRV 215 folio 17. It's all in Ntenga Road. Then LRV 215 folio 18 in the same area, and LRV 215 folio 21, all in Buyukwe. There is Bamugaya Estate, Buyukwe. Banda Dairy Farm, Banda Dairy Farm, Chagwe. Emitati Estate,
Not sure. Not sure.
Ex Rukomaginare,
Not sure, Chairman.
GLR Coffee Estate,
Not sure.
Gurama Estate,
Kulama. Buyukwe. Go to Kulama.
Buyukwe. Jalama Coffee Factory,
Not sure.
Kaganda Tea Sugar Plantation,
Not sure.
Kibizi Estate,
Not sure.
Land at Dundu, Chagwe, Lugazi Estate,
Buyukwe.
Lukumbi Estate for coffee and tea, Lunyazi Nachaza Estate,
Not sure.
Magonga Bagara Ayaze Farmers, Mangaliba Estates,
Not sure.
Mukono Sugar Cane Processing Factory,
Mukono.
Murabia Coffee Processing Factory,
Not sure.
Mulangala Coffee Estate,
Not sure.
Nadagi Estate, Nadagi, Buyukwe, Nagalama Flour Mills and Ginare, Naria Sawmills,
Not sure.
Nyanza Sawmills, Namaiba Jagare,
Mukono.
Nyenga Estates,
Buyukwe.
Tukola Bukozi Sugar Estate,
Not sure.
One Turuntu Sugar Estate,
Mukono.
Golomolo Sugar Plantation,
Not sure.
Kasirize Estate, Kasirize Estate, Mukono. Kayunga Farm and the Coffee Factory, Coffee Chewing Factory,
Not sure.
Ambika Jagar Works,
Not in Buyukwe.
Kiriowa Dairy Farm, Buyukwe, then Bukonyo Estate,
Not sure.
Bulanga Coffee Estate, Bulanga,
Not sure.
Kariona Dairy Farm,
Not sure.
Kazi and Kanyogoga Estate, Mukono Maize Mill,
Mukono.
and Mulanga Estate.
Not sure.
So basically, I think these are some of the properties which they had included in the list of the former Mukono before I think subdivision, and now you've known what falls in your jurisdiction, and you can able add on what you have and so far the partial thing you could have, and also custodian board, you should give them the full list.
Actually, Honorable Chair, I have sent the liaison officer. Our chairperson, the Investiture Committee, gave Buyukwe the entire list of the properties that fall under them. Actually, I have sent Kambuisa to go and bring it.
Okay.
And also, on the list, we should include Zintanges.
Zintanges?
Yes.
You put it include.
That is Buyukwe still.
That is Buyukwe.
Zintanges and Bugabe?
I know.
Yes.
You can add those ones. The money is from there. So you include all of those. And before I think we adjourn, let's wait for the list so that you can also have it, so that you don't have any excuse that we don't have, or we will never got the list. Then I will adjourn to a date when you appear. And I think that on that date, you will not have any excuse. We need a status report on the properties, those which you have dealt in.
Question.
Yes.
Have you dealt in any of these custodian board properties, or you don't know?
So far, those which you have recorded.
Sorry?
Have you handled any matter in those properties?
Which you have recorded?
The ones you have recorded.
You dealt in it. Where did you get powers to deal in it?
In this property, its lease expired. And when we checked, there were documents that the custodian board had divested itself from this property.
Let me ask you a question. All the properties, the lease which follows under custodian board properties, when does it expire?
It expires as per the agreement, the documents.
No. According to the law, the lease under custodian board only expires when the minister has dealt in it. So by the time you dealt in it in that land, does the minister had already dealt in that property?
Yes, the Minister of Finance.
Dealt in it?
Yes.
What shows? I'll pass it over. Pass it over. Pass it over. Pass it over.
It's a letter from the minister.
No. I've received. Let me read it for you. Then you tell me whether this instrument can give you powers to deal in it. This is the letter which was written on 14th June 2002. Mr. Rajendra Vishalbhai Patel, 28 Lapthorne Place, London. It's in London, that was the address that I think he was writing to. Bugambi Estate, Chapwe, Folio 10, FRV 10, Folio 9. Zintenges Estate, Chapwe, LRV 204, Folio 10. I have received your letter dated 1st May 2002, and I'm satisfied with the explanation that you are arranging to raise a loan from UK to revive the estates, and have authorized Property Services Limited to manage the estate on your behalf. The repossession of the estate by Mavida Plantation is therefore in order and shall not be cancelled. A copy of this letter, I convey my appreciation to Uganda High Commissioner in UK for enabling us to contact you. Gerard M. Sendaula, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. So you based on this,
and there is another letter.
Kasiri Ruhanga and the company advocates.
No, there is one from the departed agent.
What does this one say? To whom it may concern. This is to ascertain that the bearer of this letter, Mrs. Hamaden Patel, is the duly authorized and legally recognized owner of the two estates. Zintenge Estate, Bugabe Estate. Kindly accord them any assistance that they may require. Yours faithfully, Kasiri Ruhanga and the company advocates. Can Kasiri Ruhanga have authority?
There is another letter, sir, from the custodian board.
This is a MS Mavida Plantation Limited. That was on 07 July 1992. Repossession of property situated at 40 at 405.5 acres and known as Ntengese Estate LRV 204 folio 10. The custodian board has confirmed that the document is submitted regarding above mentioned properties appear to be in order. It is therefore in accordance with the law to inform you that you are free to repossess your property and that the repossession is effective from the date of this letter. Is this a repossession certificate?
The board,
is this a repossession certificate?
The board was convinced that those documents were enough.
Is this a repossession certificate? Because there are only two ways.
And for you to understand English, isn't it? Yes, so you answer the question.
There are only two ways. Now, in law, what empowers you, what gives you powers to deal in any custodian property?
The board dealt in it because...
Basing on what? That's what I want to know.
Basing on those letters, that was the basis.
Does this letter gives you authority to deal in them as per the law?
Let me make this a point here. Mama Ju, you've been here before on this matter, before we even interface with those people. Are these the kind of letters you are talking about that ministers were issued?
No, sir.
Have a look. Because you've been here on the same matters and telling us people will pay $50 for letters. Yes.
But Mr. Chairman, even custodian board was not sure that the information was right.
Honorable Chair, this property, this one was a letter of repossession. The owners should have come back, but they did not come back.
Listen, we shall go there.
Yes.
Answer the issues as they are. We've been here before seeing similar letters.
Yes, sir.
And you've been defending those letters. Yes. Now let us go slow and handle one by one. Was that the kind of letter that you are receiving from ministers?
Yes, the minister was writing these letters on his own for repossession.
So, on the files that you have, Mr. Vizigo, was that letter there before you wrote to them?
If you may answer, sir, photocopies of those letters will be put on the file.
Are they there?
I am sure it is there, but this letter on its own does not forbid repossession.
Give us what you also have. That's what they have. What do you have? For us, we say those letters are illegal. You've been here defending these letters every now and then, left, right, and center. Now, show us that letter.
Honorable Chair, that letter is there. A copy of it is on file.
Before we interrogate them. So, if that letter was there, why were you stopping them from indulging in that? What was the reason?
The Honorable Chair.
Go slow. Let's see, Mr. Vizigo.
Honorable Chair, the literature in this letter is that somebody they have looked at their document and they seem to be okay. So they were free to repossess, meaning that this was the entry point of the repossession process.
That is how we've always been arguing it should be.
Yes.
The difference is that you in custodian board have been arguing differently. You only argue that matter when it comes to individual property. When it shifts to another, you change the narrative. That's why I started with Mama Juru by asking, was that the style of repossession?
Honorable Chair, some properties were repossessed in such a manner, especially companies. But then,
was it legal?
It was an entry point for the possession, and the person had to come to custodian board and again pay £50.
Was it right?
Yes, it was right at the time.
It was, Mr.
No, based on which law? Mama Jiru, based on which law?
We've been asking you this question consistently, and we've asked you to cite one single law.
And they have been convenient. Mr. Don't you have the professional certificate on the file?
Honorable Chair, if I may.
Ask for the professional certificate. Don't you have them on that file?
Cite the law.
Honorable Chair, that was the practice at the Castilian port. I think there was no law, but the fellows were required to upgrade.
How long have you been in custodian board?
For 31 years.
For 31 years?
Yes, sir.
Was that the practice? Was it the law? Were you basing on your opinions or basing on the law?
Mr. Chair, that was a practice that was started by one minister.
Was it right?
Well, it was just an entry point. I don't know whether it was right or wrong, but it was brought about by the minister.
Mr. Vizu, yes, don't you have the original reposition on that file?
No, there is no reposition. Honorable Chair,
yes, but which were never signed or picked?
Honorable Chair, in so many files.
No, you asked a different question. Mr. I have to answer mine.
Don't get your own question.
Are you not in possession of the unsigned or original deposit certificates in respect of Zimbabwe?
Do you have original certificate or reposition certificate?
Honorable Chair, I have ever seen certificates which were ready for signing, but which were never signed for this property.
So now, do you understand the question which my boss was asking you?
Very much so.
Then you plucked them off, you started dealing by those letters.
Not Honorable Chair, from the inception.
So where are those certificates?
They were not signed. They were not signed.
Keep quiet. I'm asking Mr. Vizu. Because at least I'm privy to the fact that when in the process of these letters, the paper certificate was issued but was never signed by the minister. And this would not come to complete the process of repossession. That's why I'm asking, where are those certificates?
They could be in our office, Honorable Chair, but they were never signed. There is no any certificate of repossession signed in respect of this property.
Yeah, so that's why we are saying you go back to where for the custody of those certificates, retrieve them. We want to have a look at them as the committee. Because now, with those unsigned certificates on record, you see where Mama Juru is trying to jump ship and try to paint a picture. Or now in our understanding, as if understanding of a general application, that it is what was amounting to reposition.
You can't give me time just to clarify.
Honorable Chair, according to...
Mr. Chair, I was worried whether Mama Juru writing all these names. Because at that time she was involved in the information. Now when you give her the information, she may not be where going. You understand?
Mama, are you going? Are you going away? Are you going away? Are you going away? Mama Juru, are you going away?
No, he's
Are you going away? Our CID. You should not allow any custodial board member to leave this place until we adjourn this meeting. Whoever leaves, arrest him.
So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vizu has got those certificates. Not saying. You can. Yes. Mama Juru, we gave you time to talk. We gave you time to talk.
That's why to be civil.
You mean you are not civil?
You don't even allow me to explain.
No, Mama, it's not your turn. Majuru, we actually coming to you. I am on Mr. Vizu. I've told him at the information I have, there has never been a certificate of reposition on file, not signed. That's why I was asking Mr. Vizu, where is that certificate? Then you say you want to explain. I'm asking Vizu in his capacity as executive secretary. Because if certificate was on file, how does it leave the file? If it is in the safe, then it must be there.
Honorable Chair.
Yes?
As I have put it, it's true that this entire file, had the former owners had started the process of repossession, which they never completed. And when I got to office, when I learned of this file, and I found that the process was never completed, that's why I communicated to the local authorities not to deal in this property and told them squarely that this is a property that is under the management of government, under the stewardship of custodian board. Because I had come across of the certificates of repossession which were never signed.
Before coming, let me ask no, wait. Former secretary.
Yes.
Wait a bit. Let me ask him. Did you receive that communication?
Which one, sir?
The one the executive secretary is talking about, when he was telling you that don't deal in this property because of the reasons he gave us. Did you receive the communication?
I was no longer in office.
Did you?
Received it.
You received it? When you received it, what did you do?
When I received the letter, I presented it to the board.
When you presented it to the board?
Now the board looked at the letter, but there was no attachment to lead the board.
So you went ahead and dealt in the process?
The process was already ahead by the time you received the letter.
But now they are writing to you that what you are doing is wrong. Couldn't you stop the process and inquire further to assign really what you are dealing in belongs to in your jurisdiction? Well, in your jurisdiction, that what you are dealing in is you have the mandate to do so. Did you respond to that letter?
What? I had that after titling?
At title level.
Yeah, but
couldn't you stop that?
But how do you go at the title level when you have no ownership?
Before the application to you said, don't proceed.
Is that the reason why the IGG
Mr. Chairman, I think we need to dispose of Mama Joe's issue to understand that actually it is our letter now she's defending, which was giving them the audacity to proceed and deal with the property. That's what they are saying, but they construed that letter to mean
Mama Juro. Mama Juro. Mama Juro. Mama Juro.
Yes, sir.
You want a time to talk?
I want a time.
No, wait. You want a time to talk, not so?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now talk.
I was explaining that when a letter is given, the former owner is supposed to come back to Brazilian court. It's just a process, the first stage at the possession. He should come back and pay some money so that the certificate of possession may be given to him.
Now, in this aspect, did the owner came back?
The owner did not come back.
What is the effect of that?
It means the property is still with the government.
Mr. Chairman, you have seen the letter of Honorable Judge sent out. These are the same people who are moving around with letters for his signature. Mr. Chairman, don't you when they gave you those papers you have, they don't want moving around with those ones. Have you seen the letter? Actually, it speaks volume of what was taking place in the ministry between you and the minister.
Honorable Chair, if I may give an explanation.
Please give the explanation.
That property was repossessed. The owner never came back. There were many lawyers who now wanted to jump in to try to start managing it. One of them was Kasiri Biaranga, wanting to manage that property. But it was the reason why the legal manager wrote to the minister, and then the minister wrote to London. When you look at that file, you are going to get a letter from the legal secretary. Wrote to the minister that look, the owner has not come back. So the minister wrote to London. Even after the minister wrote, the former owners did not come back. Last year in September, we went and visited that Mabira plantation. It is total bush. And that confirmed that nobody came back.
Diversion. That letter to the effect that you are going to borrow in London, please go, your repossession is in order. And there is nobody worth being a minister worth his salt who can write that letter when he has not looked at the file.
Mr. Chairman, I think that one we call Honorable Senator to answer.
Mr. Chairman,
put out for him the letter.
He was sent to his office. That Senator letter is also in the what? It's also in the file.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to pose one question, Custodian Board. The letter of the minister, to me, is very clear. He never committed himself. He said it seems. No, the letter says the information given seems to be correct. So what did you do
to clear that uncertainty of the minister.
Members, I think in here, according to the law, when you look at the letter which came in custodian board, it was not the end of the process. It was the beginning of the process. I think we should look at the facts in this, that even when the executive secretary, when he saw the anomalies, he wrote to the district land board, requesting them not to deal in that property. And indeed they received the communication. When they received the communication, they sat in their board. And they think, for us, we are bigger than the law. Let's proceed.
What is your question?
No, Miss,
what are your qualifications?
I have a bachelor's degree in social sciences. I have a certificate in administrator's law course and a postgraduate in management.
So in management and certificate in law, administrative law, you don't know how government operates. You didn't learn how government operates.
I'm aware of how government operations are.
So what do you want us to think of you? Just put yourself in our position. The letter comes, say please don't deal in the property. Someone who has a bachelor, who has a management qualification, who has administrative law. The administrative law, we all started administrative law, if I just as a course unit. But they must start at the same course with you. But what are you saying? Beyond that, so now what we are saying, what do you make out, what do you want us to make of you? Because secretary, are you not the technical advisor to the board?
I am, in addition to other technical.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, maybe to ask specifically, when did the letter came? What advice did you give to the board? So we need to be specific, we don't go outside. What advice did you give to the board?
I presented the matter to the board, Mr. Chairman, and they deliberated on it.
And there's a minute disregarding the advice?
There's a minute?
Disregarding the advice?
Yeah, on how they thought it.
You understood it?
No, you gave advice and they refused to take your advice.
Excuse me.
There's a minute.
How many members on that committee by the time you presented that communication, and what are their names?
There were 5. There was Mr. Rwanga, the late.
Wait, Mr. Rwanga, the late.
Mr. Kaizi Francis.
Mr. Kaizi Francis, where is he?
Now the chairman.
Is now the chairman.
There was Miss Diana Mugabi.
Mr. Miss
Diana Mugabi.
Diana Mugabi, where is she?
She's around.
She's still on the board?
Yes, please.
Another one?
There is Mrs. Chirango Immaculate.
Mrs. Chirango
Immaculate. And Mr. Kafero Mbalangu Frank.
Mr. Kafero Mbalangu Frank. Now,
the minute. Do you have those minutes?
Yes, I do.
You have not
available now.
They are available now?
No.
Yeah, what certified copies of those minutes? Then, because we have to go to, because Mr. Chairman, the secretary is the advisor to the board. And the board takes a decision, his work is to extract and decide that those are the minutes. So that's why we need to look at those minutes.
Before the lady council comes in to clone up on this issue, I want to ask the secretary, when you received that communication and when you presented the matter to the board, did you write back to custodian board to tell them what you have agreed upon?
No, we didn't.
Yes.
Now, with what you've heard here and what you've seen, are you now convinced that the repossession process was not complete? Mr. Kaizi,
Sir,
are you now convinced as well that the repossession process was incomplete?
I can say I am a bit convinced.
Okay. Former Secretary, are you also convinced now with what you've heard? Maybe it was not privy to you.
Yes, I'm convinced because they're saying as far as the law is concerned, the repossession certificate must be there.
You should. And Secretary, are you now convinced?
I am.
And can we now say that whatever you did was done in error, without knowledge, sufficient knowledge, that that was done, and you can avail us with a letter to the Commissioner Land Registration that all you did was entered in error? Can you do that?
Mr. Chairman.
Because it's either two. Either you knew and you used fraud, or you didn't know and you entered in error, and that is no offense. Because it is neither nor. And I'm trying to give you a legal passage. Either you knew and it's fraud, or you entered in error, which is no, in good faith. But if you say you knew, straight to CID, then you will start your case. But if you didn't know, having known the facts now as they are, then it's entered in error of judgment.
Mr. Chairman, I take it that I didn't know, but I want to believe and agree with you that we ought to have seen a repossession certificate.
Yeah, so you entered, your judgment was done in error.
Yes,
because you thought the other one tantamounted to repossession.
Yes,
which indeed now you've been given facts to the contrary, and now you agree that there was no conclusive process of repossession. So,
before you proceed with the questions, which I think this one will help you to conclude rightly, I would request the Executive Secretary to read us to give us the letter which he wrote before to the District Land Board concerning that matter. I think Lady Council can read the letter and we'll get to know what you are entitled.
The letter before me was addressed to the District Land Board, and it reads as here, and reference is made to property comprised in LRRB 204 Folio 10, Zintengency Estate. Reference is made to the above mentioned subject. We have received reports that you intend to dispose of the subject matter on the pretext that its lease expired. Secondly, I take this opportunity to inform you that such an act would be gross violation of the Expropriated Properties Act, since the property was expropriated and the same is under management of the departed Asians Custodian Board. Lastly, may I please draw your attention to Section 2, Subsection 2b of the Expropriated Properties Act. According to this provision, the subject lease is still running. The section is quoted here below for your perusal, and it's quoted in verbatim. Where any property affected by this section was at the time of its expropriation held under lease or an agreement for a lease or any other specified tenancy for whatever description, and where the lease agreement for any lease or tenancy had expired or was terminated, the same shall be deemed to have continued and continue in force until the property has been dealt with in accordance with this act, and for such further period as the minister may by regulations made under this act prescribe. At the time of the exodus, the Asians had utilized a period of 15 years and leaving a balance of interest of 42 years. That is the letter you sent, and it continues to say that for this property, LRRB 204, Folio 10, held under Crown Lease number 36781 for 57 years and 9 months, effective the 1st of April 1946. The lease stopped running in 1972 when the Asians were expelled. Therefore, when the Minister of Finance deals with this property in accordance with the law, the balance of 42 years will start running. This letter therefore serves to guide you not to deal with this property in any form. Stand guided, yours faithfully, Visible George William, Secretary. Copy to the Minister of Finance, RDC Buikwe, the Divestiture Committee, the Town Clerk of Buikwe, DPC Buikwe, LC1 Chairperson of the Honorable Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully disagree that was not an error. That was impunity of the highest order and akin to fraud. Because if the letter clearly, even they quote for you the law and say this is the law and you disregard the letter, you don't even seek advice from either the Attorney General anywhere, and you just continue to.
The issue we asked was at what stage, and she says it was at the stage of making the title. So if you had not foreseen, if you are not privy to this information at the stage it was not presented to the board, we will presume you didn't present this to the board.
The matter, Mr. Chairman, was presented to the board.
Was presented to the board, so it was not at the stage of titling. It was at the board. I think it's granting of an offer.
What you said that it was presented to the board would be titling, but still they took a decision on the letter not to write to the land office.
Okay, but
stop the titling.
But because our issue here now is to get back the land to their hands, because the commission, the law is clear for the commissioner land registration to make an intervention. It must be entry through an error. And the minutes, these ones composed and the offer, are the basis on which the commissioner land registration issues a title. So if they agree with us here that it was an error in judgment, I have no reason to disregard what they are saying. So, I want to take the record and this committee that this was entered in error of judgment, having not seen an unsigned certificate of repossession. Shall we take that? Can you speak up, please? Shall we take that as a committee?
I agree with you.
So, shall we say that in pretext of this and having this information now, we shall require from you a letter writing to the Commissioner Land Registration that you entered this or you supplied them with information without the knowledge that the repossession process had been completed and therefore it was done in error. Will you do that?
We shall do that,
Mr. Chairman, will you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's what we require of you. Write it and furnish copies to all of us, including the custodian board and including the person whom you had given the lease, giving them and supply them with the information clearly that there was no signed repossession certificate. So to that, I think we can attend to other matters.
I think, Chair, Lady Council, basing on this in the letter, I think the letter was very clear. When you read this letter, did you interest yourselves in this act, in the act which was quoted before you? Secretary, did you?
Mr. Chairman, I didn't.
Mr. Kaiz, you were part of the team, did you?
No, sir. But we have got the problem. As the body was offered, the process as they say had already gone.
But they wrote to you. And they wrote to you. Did the secretary read this letter before you?
She read it, sir.
So what informed you to disregard it so that you can proceed with what you did?
We are sorry, sir.
Did the secretary make any
comments? You see, this issue of saying you are sorry. Now, what is the effect of the titles of those you gave this land. Tell me, what's the effect? Be on record. Mr. Kaiz, what is the record, the effect of those titles?
There is a loss, sir.
Yeah?
There is a loss.
Now, who is supposed to pay for that loss?
The board.
By the way, the law protects you.
Because it is a
Don't even go into that to commit yourself on the law you don't know. The law protects you. When you enter anything in error, you're protected because you did not have information freely. The only redress you have to do is probably if the person, because it was the person to have supplied you with the rightful information. So the loss tantamounts to them for not having given you. They knew that they didn't have a repossession certificate. Why were they asking you for that land? You understand what I'm saying? So don't waste your time. Just get us the data. You entered in error. That's all we need. We need recovery.
Honorable Yandala.
No, Mr. Chairman, I think it is past. I was just trying to ask Mr. Kaizi whether in that meeting, what comments did the technical advisor, the secretary, put on those?
So she advised them against and they went ahead. And she has no vote in the board.
Could you write that letter and you submit it before the close of the business today? No, wait.
Yeah.
We request you to bring it next week, sir.
When?
Thursday.
Later? No, wait. Secretary.
Mr. Chairman, it is desirable that we take this matter before the board. We explain, we cite the errors, and then we take a unanimous decision which we can ably communicate.
Are you aware that the entire board was supposed to be here? And are you aware that you're here representing your entire board? And now, do not push me to invoke something that is very funny, that you may live to regret by not taking a decision that is within your legal ambit. So are you aware that if I say now we want the entire board by 2 o'clock, we'll have to detain you until you produce other members? So how long does it take you to write a letter? You've seen there was an error. Do you need a board to say that there was an error?
Chairperson.
Shall bring the
Chairperson.
Monday.
Chairperson,
We shall bring the letter on Monday, sir.
What time?
2 p.m.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Are they going to, the letter they are writing to the Commission of Land, of Titles? Mr. Chairman, I would prefer if they could give us copies where those people have stamped that they have received. Because they may give us here when they haven't sent down there.
Members, despite the fact that we are going to face the commissioner on Monday, but we are going to face the commissioner on Monday on other issues which are on the schedule. On the issue of Ukwe, being that it's good now I've got the all properties, custodian board properties in the Ukwe, which I'm going to submit before them. And this necessitates that we shall interact with them on the same date when we're inviting Mukono to appear, that is the 27th, on 27th. And for the record purposes, members, allow me to read all these estates in Mukono so that they can be captured on the record, so that when they come back, they don't say, members, we don't have that on record. You can permit me to read all these properties. No, I'm going to give you a copy. You don't need to write. I just need to put it on record.
Chair, Chair, before you read, Chair, can we conclude the issue of the letter, Chair? Because
we have concluded on that.
See, Chair, why I'm raising this issue, Chair? In the introduction, the whole board was supposed to be here. They have not registered any member of the board in this apology why they are not here. And from the lead council, when he's talking about the letter, it's as if they are trying to buy some time and they should have been here. Since, Chair, we have no time and we have to meet the workshop team, I'm suggesting, Chair, that we retain this team here and they call their fellow board members so to resolve this matter.
Is very far. They need the papers, they need prayers. Let us just give them the benefit of the
Members, I think you are in Parliament and the presiding officer gave guidelines that when interfacing with the witness, we should look at the key. People should not have a lot of members in the same, because of coronavirus, I presume that these are the key positions of the district land board, those who have represented the district land board here, and they can ably take the same decision, because these are the very people who did disregard the law and the advice which were given to them by the custodian board. With that, we direct them to write that later and furnish us a copy by Monday 2 p.m. However, the date to when they will come in a photo for other issues, let me first read the properties which are supposed to respond to, then I will add China on the same.
So on the format, you can call the board on Monday morning, then you write. That you call it.
That is the properties. You can listen on because of record, that is Nyenga Sugar Estate. Hope you never dealt in any of what you have dealt in when you are writing. You can also say that one we dealt in it, then we can dispose that one off, and as we proceed. That is Nyenga Sugarcane Estate. Have you ever dealt in it, Secretary? No? But talk through the microphone so that the record can capture.
No, sir.
Lumala Coffee Estate?
No.
Lugazi Cable Factory?
No.
Lugazi Sugarcane Factory and Estate?
No.
Igma Engineering Works?
No.
Kasakuti Estate and Factories?
No.
Moniko Coffee Estate?
No.
Kiwafu Estate?
No.
Kasenso Estate?
No.
Katikamu Estate?
No.
Kivul Estate?
No.
Bukonyo Estate?
No.
Butego Estate?
No.
Library Temple Estate?
No.
Ntenga Road? LRV 218 for your 16.
I'm not sure. All of the Ntenga Road.
Then LRV 18 for your 12 of Ntenga Road.
I'm not sure.
LRV 215 for your 25 Ntenga Road.
Not sure.
LRV 215 for your 17 Ntenga Road.
Not sure.
LRV 215 for your 18 Ntenga Road.
Not sure.
FRV 6 Rutete Estate.
No.
Yeah.
Katika South Estate, Kakira South Estate.
No.
Chair, just a little to be clear, Chair. That statement of not sure. What does not sure mean? It's not in a weak way, or you don't know, or what? Because somebody may deliberately know that he handled something and says, I'm not sure. So let's be sure. What does not sure mean? It's not in a weak way, you don't know.
Members, I think it doesn't have any effect because they're coming back to where they will give us details in each and every property
But
we have raised.
You're not sure, and yet we find that he did.
Then it will be another set because he's not sure. Instead of committing himself to something he doesn't know, it's better to tell us the truth. Therefore, it's right to do that. So we can proceed. Kakira polyethylene parking plant.
No.
Huh?
No.
Kakira sweet factory.
No.
Metal box container fencing.
No.
Kakira Ginare mill.
No.
Kakira soap detergent and factory.
No.
Kakira cotton ginare.
No.
Kakira maize mill factory.
No.
Lugarambo estate.
No.
Kalangala estate.
No.
Mukono sugar coffee factory, coffee plantation.
No.
Rwanyonyi coffee estate.
No.
Nakala Sati estate.
No.
Baniko estate.
No.
Nakapini estate.
No.
Bugonya estate.
No.
Kiwaf estate.
No.
Mawanga estate.
No.
Nagoje estate.
No.
Busolo Ngani estate.
No.
Namanyonyi coffee estate.
No.
Chabazala estate. Kabala estate. Sons estate. Kalangala estate. Nafumba estate. Nafumba estate and Bigani. Develop all the sugar plants, 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 all the